Week 18 of the fantasy basketball season, and here's a few guards I looked to add this week on the wire. The first guy, Terrence Mann of the Los Angeles Clippers. So right here, we know the Clippers made a few trades at the NBA trade deadline here, trading for Power and Robert Covington and getting rid of Eric Bledsoe and Ibaka in a separate deal here. So Terrence Mann now, he's been playing more minutes, especially now with Norman Powell out for a long time with a injury here. And we know Paul George is out with the elbow still, and Kawhi Leonard most not likely not coming back this season. So next man up, no pun intended here, for this Clipper team. So on the season for Terrence Mann, 10.2 points a game, 5.2 rebounds, 2.4 assists, the 3 a game, and 47% from the field. But the last couple weeks here, he's starting to play a little bit more, and the numbers have bumped up just a bit. 10.8 points a game, 5.7 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 1.3 steals a game, and 50% from the field here for Terrence Mann. So the last few games, he's really playing good minutes here, 25 to 35 minute range a game. And like I mentioned, now with the news yesterday coming out that Powell's going to be out indefinitely, next man up over there for this Clipper team, and he's going to be playing major minutes. February 8th at Memphis, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, a 50% from the field. February 10th at Dallas, 13 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, a 50% from the field. And February 12th at Dallas, 21 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, a 3, and 60% from the field. So he could score the basketball. His three-point shot, he's not going to give you many threes a game here, maybe 1 or 2 if that, but rebounding and scoring and a good field goal percentage is definitely what Terrence Mann could provide fantasy owners. And right now he's available in 66% of fantasy leagues, and I will give him an ad this week. The next guard I've looked at is Ayo Dosunmu of the Chicago Bulls. So I've mentioned them probably 5 or 6 times now on these ad videos over the last few weeks here, and right now he's still available somehow in 46% of fantasy leagues here. So on the season for Dosunmu, pretty decent stats in his rookie year. 8 points a game, 2.7 boards, 3 assists, and 52% from the field. But the last few weeks here, 10.7 points a game, 3 rebounds, 8.1 assists, 1.1 steals, 1.6 threes a game, and a nice 51% from the field. So we know obviously Lonzo Ball's still out with that knee injury, and now Zach LaVine's banged up as well, and there's no timetable for his return after he'll remain going under further testing. So right here, Dosunmu, he's been playing major minutes over the last month of the season, 35 to 40 minutes a game about. And on volume alone, this guy should be owned in more fantasy leagues, in my opinion. So the last few games here for him, February 7th versus Phoenix, 2 points, 2 rebounds, 14% from the field. February 11th versus Minnesota, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 10 assists, 3 steals, 2 threes, 85% from the field. And February 12th, he almost had a triple-double in that one. 12 points, 8 boards, 9 assists, a steal, 2 threes, and 62% from the field. So Dosunmu, he gives you 4 categories for fantasy owners. He'll be a decent guy scoring the ball, definitely a good rebounder as a guard, good passing the ball, and his field goal percentage has been solid as well. So I definitely will give him an ad this week here, and he should be owned in more fantasy leagues, no doubt about it. The next guard's Kispert of the Washington Wizards. So the Wizards here, they traded a few players away at the deadline. We saw Dinwiddie go for Porzingis in a deal. We saw Bradley Beal's out for the season. And we saw Montrezl Harrell get traded to the Hornets. So right here, next man up. And they're going with the youth movement once again this season here as the Wizards, especially with their franchise player out for the year. So on the season here for Kispert, 6.5 points a game, 2.5 rebounds, an assist, a 3, and 42% from the field. But the last couple weeks here, he's playing more and he's scoring more and giving fantasy owners more. 11.5 points a game, 4.7 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 2 threes a game, and 42% from the field. So this guy's definitely a sharpshooter. And if you need some scoring and three-point shooting, Kispert's a good ad this week here. And he's also a decent rebounder as well at the guard position. So the last few games from February 7th versus Miami, 20 points, 6 rebounds, and assist, a steal, a 360% from the field. February 10th versus Brooklyn, 6 points, 6 boards, and assist, a steal, 2 threes, 15% from the field. And February 12th versus the Kings, 20 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 threes, and 43% from the field. So right here, he definitely could score the basketball, and he's definitely playing major minutes, anywhere from 25 to 35 minutes a game. So if you need a few categories, especially the scoring and three-point shooting, Kispert is a good ad this week, and he's available still in a whopping 92% of fantasy leagues. The next guard's Cameron Thomas of the Brooklyn Nets. So we saw the Nets wheel and deal at the deadline, trading James Harden after acquiring him just a year ago here, trading him to the Philadelphia 76ers for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, and Andre Drummond. So next man up over there in Brooklyn. And with Kevin Durant still out with injury, Kyrie Irving only playing road games, obviously, and now James Harden out of town. And who knows when Ben Simmons is going to be in the lineup. Cameron Thomas is going to have a decent workload, and he's been putting up big numbers over the last few weeks here on the season. 9.2 points a game, 2.5 rebounds, 1.2 assists, 44% from the field. But the last couple weeks here for Thomas, 18 points a game, 3 rebounds, 2.1 assists, 1.6 threes a game, and 50% from the field. So he's scoring the basketball at a great clip for this Net team. And like I mentioned, this Net team's been in a crazy tailspin, losing 12 games in a row, I believe, now. And Cameron Thomas has been pretty much the only bright spot, him and Kyrie Irving, when he plays his road games. So the last few games here for Thomas, February 8th versus Boston, 17 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, 41% from the field. February 10th at Washington, 27 points, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, 4 threes, 61% from the field. And February 12th at Miami, 22 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and 2 threes, 44% from the field. So he's scoring the basketball great. He's available still somehow in 67% of fantasy leagues. And like I mentioned, this Net team's desperate for scoring and a guy who can give you a few categories and play good basketball. So right now, Cam Thomas is definitely one of the bigger ads this week at the guard position. And the fifth and final guard I looked at this week's Lance Stephenson of the Indiana Pacers. So Stephenson back in the NBA this season after he's been out the last few years playing overseas, and he's played pretty decent ball for the Pacers after starting off with a 10-day contract this season with the Hawks, then going to Indiana, and now he's signed for the remainder of the year. So on the season here for Stephenson, 8.3 points a game, 2.9 rebounds, 3.6 assists, 45% from the field. But the last couple weeks here, after the LeVert trade, Lamb and Holiday leaving town as well, and there's a bonus deal, Stevenson's a guard that's going to play many minutes here for this Pacer team. 12.3 points a game, 3.1 rebounds, 4 assists, and 48% from the field over the last few weeks. And the last couple games from February 8th at Atlanta, 24 points, 9 boards, 8 assists, 46% from the field. February 11th versus Cleveland, 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 66% from the field. Then February 13th versus the Timberwolves, 21 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, a 3, and 43% from the field. So right here, he'll give you scoring, some rebounding, and assisting the basketball with a decent field goal percentage. If you need 3 or 4 categories, I think Stevenson's a decent ad this week. And he's going to get the playing time, like I mentioned, with Lamb, Holiday, and LeVert out of town over there in Indiana. And he's available in 88% of fantasy leagues. That's a few guards I look to add here for Week 18 of the fantasy basketball season.